there, I have a great vegetable side dish for you today. I think you're going to love it. Hey everybody, Elizabeth Hines here from our Paleo family and the Autoimmune Free Cooking Club. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're cooking okra. Okra is an amazing vegetable. Yes, it has that sort of slimy quality to it, you might say, that is very healing to your digestive system or to your gut, as a lot of people like to say. And it tastes amazing if you cook it properly. So I came up with this okra fritter recipe several years ago to try to get more okra in our diets. And since then, my family has decided they love okra and they'll just eat it anyway. But I still love these fritters every once in a while for just a special treat. And they're a great intro to okra. So if you're not an okra lover, give this recipe a try. It's super flexible too, which I love. And I'm going to make it in my blender. I used to just mix it all up in a bowl, but I've decided I like my okra to be chopped up a little bit, and I just use this frozen cut okra. It's by far my favorite way to make these fritters. If I have fresh okra in my garden, I just saute it in a pan or roast it in the oven. But if I want to make these fritters, or I have another recipe that's southern fried okra, we bake it, but it's fried. It's so good. These two recipes, this one and the fried one, work the best with this frozen cut okra. So that is easy to find most of the time. So I'm going to get all my other stuff in the blender and blend it up. And then I'll put my okra in because I don't want it totally pulverized. I just want it a little bit chopped up. So we need 1 large egg. Two tablespoons of something thick and creamy. You can use sour cream. One time I found raw sour cream and it was amazing. You could use coconut cream, so the cream that comes to the top of a can of full-fat coconut milk. You could use cottage cheese. You could use a plain Greek yogurt, ricotta chease. So something kind of thick and creamy. So I have mayonnaise, because I don't have any of the other things. I have coconut milk, but I don't have another use anytime soon for the actual water that's in the can. So I just don't want to open it up because it doesn't really last that long in the fridge, a week at the most. And I don't want to waste a good full can of coconut milk. So I'm just using 2 tablespoons of my homemade mayonnaise. It'll work great. My seasonings are 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. Let me do the salt first. I'll use a little bit more salt as I'm cooking them, but that's all the salt I'll put inside. And then just a little pepper, just a little black pepper. And then what's going to thicken them up, make them that frittery consistency, is 1/3 cup of almond flour. And now I've decided, since I originally wrote this recipe, that I just wanted to add more vegetables. I'm just always trying to get more vegetables in our diets. And so I'm adding some spinach. So just about a cup. You don't have to measure it. Just put some spinach in. The spinach will get all blended up, and so the fritters will be green, which is why I'm calling these green fritters. But, you know, spinach is very mild and you really won't taste it. I'll figure it out eventually. There we go. Okay, so I want, all these things have such short cords. I got a new hair dryer last year. It has a really long cord and it is so nice. Of course, that's the one thing I probably don't need a super long cord, but I appreciate that they gave me one. So I'm filming this during the coronavirus quarantine time, and where you don't get to go to the grocery store and just get whatever you want. But if you could go to the grocery store and get whatever you wanted, what's your favorite vegetable? I would love to know. Okra is probably my kids' favorite vegetable, at least right now. They're definitely on an okra kick. So just one nice big full cup of okra. And again, you can leave this whole, not the whole pods, but you could leave them in the cut pieces like this, or you could blend them a little bit. I used to, or when I'm thinking of it, or when we're not having a pandemic, I like to get a new vegetable or fruit every time I go to the store, or that there's something that looks good, just to try something new and different. And it's not always successful, but sometimes it is. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to pour this into a bowl just so you can see the consistency of it. Now again, if you didn't want to add the spinach, that's totally fine, and it wouldn't be completely green like this. It would just be tan, the color of the almond flour and the egg. But I think it's fun to make them green. This would be perfect for St. Patrick's Day. I'm a little late on that. And then I'm just going to cook these in my skillet. I'm just going to show you one because my little tabletop burner, isn't very big. It doesn't do a whole skillet full very well. So I'm just going to show you one and then cook the rest on my stovetop. But you can make these in the oven. I'll show you how I'm going to scoop them out. You can bake them on a baking tray. My favorite way is to melt a little of my reserved bacon drippings. Put that on my sheet pan, put it in the oven, let it get hot, and then I will drop my fritters on. They'll kind of sizzle, and they'll kind of be like they were fried. And although it's all done in your oven, totally hands off, and that's a really great way to make these. And I know this looks like a small amount, but it makes enough for a side dish for my family of 4. If you have a bigger family or bigger appetites, then you may want to double the recipe, which is super easy to do. All right, so let me clear this stuff away, get my stove out, and I'll show you how they cook up. Okay, you want your heat on about medium-high, and I'm going to use bacon fat because, like I said, I think that tastes really delicious with the okra fritters, but you could use any safe cooking oil like coconut oil, palm shortening, avocado oil, a light tasting olive oil. Be careful buying light olive oil because sometimes it's cut with canola oil or sunflower oil, one of those cheap inflammatory oils, and you do not want that. So choose one of your anti-inflammatory oils. Butter would be fine, ghee would be fine. So we'll get this nice and hot, and I'll just show you how they cook up. Okay, so my oil is hot, it's smoking a little bit, and I like to use these dishers. This one is about 1/4 cup. So they're all the same size. And then I just kind of flatten it a little bit so it cooks faster. And that's it. And then I'll cook them all. If you have a little tiny skillet like this, say that's all you have, like maybe an apartment or something, just cook a couple at a time. Put them on a little tray and stick them in your oven and let them stay warm while you cook the rest. I'm going to turn that down a little bit if you just think it's too hot. This is a great make-ahead recipe because you saw how fast that was to throw it together. And then you can just pop it in your fridge and cook it whenever you're ready. So I love to try to get ahead. Like on a day that I have time in the kitchen, I might not be making the okra fritters tonight. They might be for tomorrow night's dinner, but I have a little time. I mean, certainly I have 5 minutes where I could go ahead and mix that up, even if it's at the end of the meal. Go ahead and mix up that batter, stick it in the fridge, and then it will be ready for tomorrow night. Or you can do it in the morning before you go to work real quick, that sort of thing. So try to be thinking ahead how you can make your life a little bit easier. This recipe is one that certainly lends itself to making ahead. It's really easy to do that. I think I had my skillet a little too hot at the beginning, so I'm going to go ahead and flip that over. Oh no, it's okay. I thought it might be broken. Anything that's fried, even though these aren't like deep fried, but you know, sauteed in the skillet, I just like to hit with a little bit of salt. And then at this point, once I've gotten a nice little crust and browning on that first side, I want to turn it down to about a medium low because you do need it to cook all the way through. And so if you have it too high, it will just burn on the outside and not get done on the inside. So when I have a whole skillet full, it's 15, maybe 20 minutes to get them all cooked because I cook them pretty low. So I want them done perfectly. Let me scoot this one a little closer to the center. If you wanted to add some cheese to these, that would be delicious. I mean, I like to keep it totally paleo. I love cheese, don't get me wrong. And I, you know, put cheese on lots of things when it really enhances the dish, but I just don't think it really needs it. But if you just love cheese and you want to put some cheese in and your body is good with that, Parmesan would be really great with these, or maybe like a smoked cheddar or something like that would be delicious. All right, well, I'm going to just let those go and we'll check back in a few minutes. Okay, so we've been going about 12-ish minutes, and you can cut them open to see if they're done, and they just, you know, they need to look kind of dry on the inside and not wet. You know what wet batter looks like a pancake batter. So you want them to look dry. And also they will be firm. You know, you'll be able to stick your finger all the way through it. I cut this one open before. The tricky part with these is that the okra has that sort of gooiness to it. So if you happen to cut it right into a piece of okra, it might look like, oh, you know, it's not done. But just pay close attention. Look around the okra and see what that part looks like. And again, these will be super fun for St. Patrick's Day because they're bright green. Just that teeny bit, we had 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. Adds a great flavor. You could, of course, put in some fresh onion if you like. I would grate it or mince it really finely. But I think the onion powder works great. That's really readily available. If you hate onion, you could use a different herb. You could really change these up in so many ways. But it's just a basic recipe that's a little bit special and helps to introduce a vegetable that I think some people are afraid of. I love these. You can taste the okra. You cannot taste the spinach. And you have all that spinach in there. They're so good. If you have little kids, you could call these like green monster pancakes or something. They probably think they were hilarious because they're bright green. But they're delicious, super easy and fast, makes a special side dish, and I hope you will give these a try. All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and I will see you next time.